Hi guys, my name is Liam and welcome to Manna, the channel where we explore the religious significance of Christian dishes throughout history. And today we are making Zeppole di San Giuseppe. So from the name you can tell that today's dish isn't an English one, but rather it is an Italian one. And Zeppole in Italian is essentially what we would call donuts, and San Giuseppe is the Italian for St Joseph. So basically we are making St Joseph's donuts. So these sweet treats that we are making today are made from choux pastry, and they're stuffed and topped with creme patissiere with a little cherry on top just for decoration. Nobody really knows the origins of Zeppole, but we do know that they originated in Sicily and that they are consumed in all these different countries across the world, including Canada, America. They are consumed in the island of Malta, lots of different places. But who is St Joseph, and why are the Italians making donuts named after him? Well, if we look at Italy, we can see that food is so heavily ingrained in their culture, and the Italians need no excuse to create new dishes. But one thing they do love more than creating ordinary food is creating food that is inspired by their faith and church history. So many of us know who St Joseph is, and you guys at St Benedict's will know who St Joseph is, as he is one of our tutor saints. However, for those of you that don't know who St Joseph is, St Joseph is the husband of Our Lady, the Virgin Mary, the adoptive father of Jesus, and he is also the patron saint of the Universal Church, travellers, expectant mothers, refugees, and many, many more. He is one of the most influential and important figures within our church as a member of the Holy Family. So St Joseph was also an incredibly courageous figure in our church's history. We often talk about the Virgin Mary's yes to God when it was announced that she would bear the Son of God. But we rarely focus on the yes, the very important yes that St Joseph gave too. So in the Bible we see that Joseph and Mary were set to be married. However, when Joseph found out that Mary was pregnant, it was a massive shock to him, because obviously the baby wasn't his. Now this placed great shame on Mary as a woman, and she could have been stoned to death, and Joseph could have left her, found another woman and got married. However, an angel came to Joseph in one of his dreams and said that the baby was the Son of God, conceived by the Holy Spirit, and that he shouldn't be afraid to marry Mary. So Joseph did just that. He married Mary and he journeyed with her to Bethlehem, and Jesus was born, and he became Jesus' adoptive father. St Joseph has often been described as the father in the shadows. We don't really hear much about him, but we know that he had an incredible impact on Jesus because he was the one who raised him. He taught him carpentry, he taught him right and wrong, but he also prepared him alongside his mother for his great mission ahead. And Joseph's yes shaped the story of salvation forever. So recently Pope Francis proclaimed 2021 as the year of St Joseph, which is fantastic because St Joseph is the patron saint of the church, and we are hoping that he will bring great healing to our communities and to our churches. So it's only fitting that for this celebration of the year of St Joseph and his upcoming feast day, which is on Friday, that we make these brilliant sweet treats just to kind of pay homage to the brilliant figure that St Joseph was and is. So history lesson over, it's time to get baking. So before we get started, let's take a look at what we're going to need. So for our pastry, we're going to need 113 grams of butter at room temperature, 1.5 teaspoons of caster sugar, 136 grams of plain flour, 240 milliliters of water, and 4 eggs at room temperature. Now let's take a look at what we're going to need for our filling and our decoration. So we're going to need 160 milliliters of full fat milk, 2 egg yolks, 100 grams of caster sugar plus a tablespoon of caster sugar, 2¼ tablespoons of corn flour, a pinch of salt, 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence, some sugar glazed cherries, and some icing sugar to dust those bad boys afterwards. Now onto equipment. So we're going to need a baking tray, our saucepan, a spoon or a spatula, our whisk, a piping bag. I got some disposable ones from Home Bargains, and some nozzles to go in the piping bags. Again, got them from Home Bargains. And lastly, sorry I forgot, but we are going to need some baking parchment. Brilliant. Now that that's sorted, what we're going to do is we're going to get our saucepan, throw our butter, our sugar and our water in together and wait for that to heat up to a gentle boil. Once that's all melted down, what you're going to do is you're going to throw all of your flour into the pan at once and give it a really good mix, and you'll see the choux pastry start to thicken up until it looks something like this. Once you've done that, take that off the heat and then give it a really good stir just to cool the mixture down a little bit. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add our eggs in, but we're not going to throw them all in together at once. What we're going to do is we're going to put one egg in, give it a really good mix, and then pop the other egg in, give it a mix, and just keep repeating that until you've used up all of your eggs. And once you've done that, your mixture's going to look quite glossy and smooth. Now that we've done all of that, we can actually start loading our choux pastry onto our baking tray. So what we're going to do is we're going to line our baking tray with some parchment paper. Then we're going to take a dessert spoon and we're going to start spooning our choux pastry onto the tray into small little mounds. Try and keep them separate as I've done here because they will expand in the oven and become quite big. So what you can see me doing here, I'm just taking one of my measuring spoons and putting little tiny holes into the top of the pastry. We don't want to go right down to the bottom, but rather just create little indentations. So once they are baked, we have a little space for our creme pâtissière to go into. Once you've done that, we're going to pop these in the oven for 30 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. So now that they're in the oven, it's time to make our creme pâtissière. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop all of our ingredients minus our milk into a saucepan. And we're going to whisk all of that together, and once we've done that, we're going to turn our heat on, our hob, and just gradually pour our milk in and give it a really good whisk. They say good things come to those who whisk, so you just got to keep whisking here constantly. You might see some lumps, just keep whisking, they'll disappear eventually. And what you're going to end up with is this custard-like consistency, and that is what we want in. After that, take it off the heat and give it a whisk off the heat just to accelerate the cooling down process. Ta-da! They are done! So take them out the oven and pop them on that cooling tray to cool down for a couple of minutes. And once you've done that, get your piping bag out and fill the piping bag up with your creme pâtissière and get ready for piping our donuts. So now that we're all set, what you want to do is you want to take one of your donuts or your Zeppole and you want to pop a little hole in the side of it. I'm using a little cocktail stick here, but you can use whatever you want as long as it's clean. And then pop the nozzle of your piping bag in there and just make sure you fill that bad boy with a lot of creme pâtissière. Then you're going to repeat that process until you have filled all of your Zeppole. Now that we've filled all of our Zeppole, it's time to pop our creme pâtissière on top. So we're going to take the very same piping bag and just pipe a tiny bit of creme pat on top and then decorate it with one of our sugar glazed cherries. And just keep repeating that until you've finished all of your Zeppole. I think it's important to note, I should have mentioned this before, but this recipe can make double what you've got here. So we've got 6 Zeppole here, but the recipe can make up to 12. So whilst you're doing that, why don't you pop another tray of Zeppole back in the oven. Now once you've done that, what you're going to do is you're going to dust these bad boys with some icing sugar. I look like an absolute freak here because I am just pouring icing sugar on with my fingers because I couldn't find a sieve. But I later did find a sieve, and you'll see afterwards that my Zeppole look a lot more dusted than they do in this clip here. But I tell you what, look at that. How blooming gorgeous does that look? And there we have it, guys, our Zeppole di San Giuseppe, our St Joseph donuts. They smell brilliant, they taste brilliant, because I'm not gonna lie, I've already eaten about 3. If you like what you see today, please do have a bash at this and tag us on our Instagram at stbenedicts.chaplaincy. And please, students from St Benedict's, if you could show me your creations, that would be absolutely amazing. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next week.